Hello, welcome to Revive and Rise. I'm your host, Melody Parrish, and I want to thank you so much for joining us today. For the month of April, we're going to be talking about narcissism and narcissistic personalities, and we will be delving into previous episodes and the things that we've learned from previous episodes to help us with dealing with narcissism. Things like breaking patterns, things like establishing boundaries, loving ourselves and others. We'll be looking at those things that we've learned previously so that we can put them into practice into our lives when we're dealing with narcissistic personalities. And so when we talk about narcissism, I feel like that is a word that is really misunderstood, misused in society today, because the moment someone seems self-absorbed or arrogant, we just automatically will label them as narcissist, or we'll just say, "Oh, look at the way they're just being a narcissist," and that's not really true. Sure, narcissists are self-absorbed, they're arrogant, they're haughty types of individuals, but they're at an extreme level. So if you look at the data, narcissists make up, depending on which data you use, anywhere from 1 to 5% of our population. So it's very small. And the way we use the word is very large, on a large scale. So I wanted to take this episode and to kind of identify key components to narcissism, maybe things to look for, and ideas about narcissism that we can have. And I also want to share my experiences, because I do have close experiences with narcissists in my life. So I want to just come together and put all that together in the episode for you, and hopefully we'll learn from each other. So when we talk about narcissism, I think one of the most recognized characteristics is the exaggerated sense of self-importance. And it is so exaggerated. It is so amazing how highly narcissists think of themselves in every possible way. And it's not just the, "Oh, I think I'm important." It's not just the, "Oh, I think I'm the best," but it's more of a, "I will do whatever it takes to make you think that I am the most important, to make you think that I am superior." It's very interesting to see a narcissist work once you understand who and what they are, just because they will do anything to make you see them as they see them. And so if they think they are the best at something, or the most superior being ever, then they will do whatever it takes to make you see that. And they will wrap themselves in a million and one knots, not knowing they're doing it half the time, but they will do whatever they have to do to make you see themselves as good as they see themselves. And it's very interesting. And, when it gets to that point, in the narcissism, they don't care who they hurt. They don't care who they hurt, what they do, or what they have to do. They just care about that end result, and they have tunnel vision. All they can see is that they are going to be the superior person in this whole thing, and so that's what they're focused on, and they're not focused on who they have to hurt or what they have to do, and that's the important part. I feel like with a lot of the self-absorbed people in the world, those people that think highly of themselves, at some level and at some point, they will feel bad. They will feel, this is too much. I can't do this in order to get this recognition. I can't do this. This just isn't right. It's just too much. A narcissist does not feel that way. A narcissist will never think that something is too much because it's going to hurt someone. A narcissist thinks that they deserve this recognition, and they don't care. There's just no empathy there. There's no emotion there. It's just, I want to be the best. I want you to see me as the best, no matter what it costs. And that too is where there's the shift from the self-absorbed, arrogant kind of personality to the narcissist. I know it's been interesting in my experiences with narcissistic personalities, the extent that these people will go to is just mind-blowing. And when I think about my journey with narcissists, it took me a long time to recognize the narcissism. It took me a long time to even understand it. I didn't even know what that was. And then it was such a learning process because I didn't know what it was. And then once I was told what it was, it went against everything that person told me. So to call that person a narcissist or say they had a narcissistic personality went against everything that person had told me about themselves. So when you grow up or when you begin to learn about one thing, and for so many years you are told one specific thing, then to find out that that's not true, actually the opposite's true, it's very hard. It's very difficult to unlearn and relearn things, and that takes a long time. It doesn't just happen overnight. So in my experience, I think that was one of the most difficult parts of the journey was coming to terms with the fact that what you thought was true is not, and what really is true is. But going back to the narcissistic personalities, these people think their first characteristic that I noticed, and then I was able to watch for and point out a pattern, was the exaggerated sense of self-importance, the want and need for the recognition. These people want to be recognized as superior without having achievements or putting forth the effort. they want to be recognized as superior just because of who they are. And that's the way they see themselves, and that's the way they want you to see them. And then when they don't get that recognition, when they don't get that praise that they feel that they deserve, it's not even I think that this is the right thing to do. It's I deserve that. And that's very different emotions and very different thought processes to feel like you deserve something or that you're entitled to something. But the narcissist feels like they are entitled to the recognition, entitled to the praise that they feel that they deserve. And when they don't get that praise or that recognition, then they're just totally surprised. And if they don't get that recognition, or they don't reach the expected level of success that they think that they should have, then they blame others. It's never their fault. They never hold themselves accountable. They never accept any part of this. They blame others because it is your fault that I am not getting recognized. It is your fault that I am not having the success that I feel that I should. And it's not that I haven't put forth the effort. It's not that, well, maybe I need to work for it, but it's that it's your fault. And that's one of the biggest things, I think, of narcissists and narcissistic personalities is that they never hold themselves accountable. And frankly, most people around them never hold them accountable for anything either. But rather, the narcissist will blame others. And that's where the pain and the cruelty comes in, is the blaming of others and the putting that blame on the shoulders of others. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But that I would say is one of the biggest characteristics of a narcissist, is that exaggerated sense of self-importance. Oh, I'm so much better. Oh, I'm so superior. And the idea that no matter what, I'm going to make you think that, to where it becomes the narcissist's job in a way not to do something, not to be something, but to make you see them as they see themselves, to make you see them as they appear to themselves. And that's where they focus most of their energy at, it seems to me. The narcissist believes that they are special, that they are unique, and generally they will only surround themselves or they only want to be surrounded by the best, because they feel like they are the best and only the best are worthy of their presence. Whatever the best may be, that's all personal for the narcissist. But they want themselves in that upper level. That upper level of the population, whether it's money, recognition, success, whatever that may be, for them. And that's important just because it shows who and what population of people narcissists will be around, will want to be around. And to some level, I think that narcissists will temporarily place themselves and surround themselves with people that will elevate their status. So narcissists will put people around them that will be like, oh, wow, in such awe of the narcissist, temporarily. They will put themselves in those populations just so that they can get that recognition. But as soon as they get that recognition, then they start to feel superior, and they don't want to be with those individuals anymore. They have to be with the higher, more superior class of people because that's who they see themselves with. So it's a very intricate working system, to where you go somewhere with a certain group of people that a narcissist will feel like they're beneath them, if you want to say it like that. But they need the recognition and the praise that those people are going to get, and that those people are going to give them when they see them. And so, but they'll only be there temporarily because they don't feel that everyone is worthy of them. Only specific people are worthy of their presence. It's just a remarkable idea, and it's so interesting to see how people work this way, how people feel this way about themselves. But it also shows the fragility of the person, because while there's this delicate balance between these things, it's all driven by a fragile self-esteem problem that the narcissist has. People think that, oh, well, they're arrogant, they're so self-absorbed, they're clearly, there's no way that they're fragile in self-esteem. There's no way that they're so sensitive. Yes, there is actually. That's the driving force. The fragility has been overshadowed by the grandiose self-importance and self-worth that the narcissist has. That's the way they cover up their fragility. And when we talk about narcissist, you can have anyone in your life that has narcissistic personalities or personality traits. Whether it's like a family member, friend, coworker, your boss. We even have leaders that are narcissists. A lot of leaders are narcissists. We can argue that our country is being led by a narcissist right now. And with the things that I'm saying and the characteristics I'm giving, I mean, you can draw your own conclusions. But it's this fragility that we need to look at, because that's the driving force. That's the driving force of the narcissist's actions in every way. is that they have such a low self-esteem, and their whole self idea and self-worth is so fragile that they've just created this world and created this idea and created this grandiose scheme to overcompensate for that and to cover it. You know, nobody can know how fragile I am. I have to seem like this grand superior person. I have to hide this fragile self, and I have to hide it in every possible way. And so the narcissist is very, very, very preoccupied with how people will perceive them because of this fragility. And this occupies every facet of their mind. Every moment of every day, every decision is focused on how people will perceive them. If I do this, how will I be perceived by people? If I do that, how will I be perceived by people? Oh, so maybe I'll do this. It's just a constant preoccupation that they have. And another thing is that as long as you feed into their ego, as long as you feed into their superiority above everyone, as long as you idealize them, they're going to love you. They're going to think that you're the most wonderful person, and they will just layer the praise onto you. So they will put onto you what they expect you to put back onto them. And that's really how they keep, a narcissist will keep someone around, is that they'll keep them around, they'll keep them engaged, is by saying, oh, you're so wonderful. Oh, you know, you're such an intelligent person. You've done this, you've done that. You do this, you do that. I need you. I need you, you know, and then that person will be like, oh, no, you're the wonderful one. You're so superior to everyone else. Look how everyone's treated you. Look what you have done to rise above. You're just amazing. And then it feeds into that narcissism, and it's just a vicious cycle of I have to do this so that this person can see me as superior. I have to do this so that I appear superior. And it keeps the person or the other individual locked in and connected. And that's where the narcissistic abuse comes in. People can be abused by narcissists, and severely abused by narcissists. I've been a victim of narcissist abuse, and it's very painful. It's very painful. It's very hard to come out of. It's very hard to get over. But you have to go. I think it's like everything else. You just have to go to the very center and to begin to understand. That's how we heal, right? Is we begin to understand. And the more understanding we get, and the more we're able to see and to learn, the more we're able to heal. And so when you think of a narcissist as well, they have this astronomical sense of entitlement. They are entitled to everything. And They believe that rules don't apply to them. They think that they're, quote unquote, above the law. If you want to say it like that, they just think that they're above anything of that nature, and they will make you bend over backwards for them, but then show no appreciation at all. So they don't care about the inconvenience that they may cause others. Inconvenience is okay for you, but inconvenience is not okay for them. And that's another big red flag. And that's where the abuse begins to come in, because when you have a narcissist in your life, at first you don't understand what's going on, and so you will. You love this person or you care about this person, and you will go out of your way to do things and to help this person and to just be there for this person. And then you start to notice that, oh, wait, this has become expected. This is not really appreciated. It's become expected. And here I am, tired and sometimes defeated. And there this person is like a shiny gold coin, untouched. And those kind of things, when you'll start to notice it and you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't really make sense. This isn't the way it's supposed to be. This doesn't really make sense at all. So once you tend to see one of these things, you tend to see them constantly, and they'll just pop right up like a big red light bulb. One after another. But that's another really key, excuse me, that's a real key characteristic, is the sense of entitlement, and the sense that, inconvenience is good for you, but it's not good for me. And I don't care who I inconvenience as long as it's not myself. That's the mentality of a narcissist. Also, narcissists tend to lack empathy. They lack empathy for others, yet they expect empathy from everyone. So you'll see narcissists constantly talk about their troubles or the troubles that they've had or what they've overcome, or things of that nature. But if those things come up from other individuals, oh, it's nothing. That's nothing. Oh, you had to do this. Oh, let me tell you what I had to do, what I had to overcome. Oh, you had to overcome this. Oh, let me tell you about my story. Those kind of things. It's always, everything has to be, they have to have been in the worst situation. Everything has to be worse for them. And the narcissist will always have overcome so much more than anyone else, and in such a grandiose way, that it's superior to everybody else. They are the best, and there is nothing better. And no matter how much you had to endure, no matter how much you had to overcome, it can't compare to what they did. Nothing compares to what they did. And that's something that you learn when you're learning kind of what their thought processes are, what their ideas are, or just how the narcissistic mind works. It's just fascinating that no matter what, in their delusional mind, and that's another characteristic of narcissists, is that they are living in a world of delusions where these delusions tell them how wonderful they are. It's just amazing to see all that, and to see all that played out. And I don't know. I just get so overwhelmed at the thoughts sometimes, when I stop to think, or when I stop to reflect on things and on ideas, on situations that have occurred between me and the narcissist in my life. And it's just amazing, the whole process. To me, I just look back and I'm like, wow. For one, I believed that, and for the second, wow, I understand now, and I see differently. Just coming to those realizations and those ideas, and just learning those things are pretty powerful. And so when we talk about narcissists, we also need to remember that they are jealous of others. They don't say they're jealous of other people, but they are. It's just like they don't say they have a fragile ego, but they do. And this is a driving force for them, right? This envy, this jealousy, it drives everything. Just like the fragile ego drives everything, this envy does too. And together, the envy and the fragile ego, when they come together, it's just horrendous. And the lengths that they provoke people to go, it's beyond me sometimes. It's beyond understanding. But our narcissists will always envy others, and they always think that people are envious of them. Narcissists will always think that people want to be them, that they're jealous of them and whatever they have, and they're jealous of their life. And, they always think that other successful people will envy them, right? They're the envy of all of their friends. They're the envy of every person on earth. And if you don't have that extreme of narcissism, then you'll have the other extreme, and the other extreme could be that they play the victim, that everything is so bad for them. They have overcome so much. They have. It seems like the world has been against them since the very beginning, and people just don't understand them. People have done nothing but make them miserable, and this narcissist has just overcome all of it and excelled, and no matter what, they've always come out on top. Wow, they're wonderful. You also have that kind of narcissist. So, and the narcissist that, this one doesn't like me, or that one doesn't like me, or this makes my life difficult, that makes my life difficult. I can't do this because this happened, I can't accomplish this because this happened. And it just seems like, for lack of a better word, like a pity party. And not just any pity party, but it has to be the biggest pity party. Nobody could have ever experienced anything worse than me. And sometimes it's very extremely ridiculous. And I don't think it sounds ridiculous to the narcissist, but to anyone else who actually stops to think, it sounds so ridiculous. So ridiculous. Yes. And that can be with anything. And in those situations, it's like the narcissist just blatantly is saying, oh, well, yeah, you may be going through something difficult in a difficult situation, but it's definitely not as difficult as the situations that I've been in, and it's not as difficult as what I'm going through now. Yes, the my now is worse than your then mentality of the narcissist is what is one of the cruelest things that they do, and the tactics that they use. They're trying to play victim, and nothing is as worse as what they're going through right now, no matter what you went through back then. And that shows the lack of empathy, that shows the feeling of superiority, that even though it's in a negative light, even though it's something terrible, they have had the worst. It's still showing that superiority in their minds, but it's also playing the victim. And what that does to the people that are in that situation is it leads them to think that they don't matter, to think that they're not important, to think, why bother saying anything? Because, it's just going to be dismissed like that. And they can take those ideas into other relationships in their lives, be it family, friends, coworkers, romantic relationships, that idea and that belief that's planted right there will go and flood throughout all of the relationships that are in that individual's life, because that's what happened to me. So when you think about narcissist, yes, it's irritating, it's frustrating, it's aggravating. But if you're in that, it's so harmful and cruel. And it's not until you can get out of that. It's not until you can get out of that situation and you can reflect on it to where you understand how toxic it was. Because as with everything, when you're in it, it's hard to know that it's toxic. It's hard to know and to understand what that relationship's doing to you, but also what it will do to you. That's why I think it's so important for us as human beings to be able to reflect on things and reflect on life and look and see how things have affected us, see where we've come from since we've been where we were. So that is the main point that I want to get across, that the reason that we're having this discussion in this episode is so I can point out different characteristics of narcissists, so that then you'll be able to be more aware and to notice. And maybe it's not for you, maybe it's for a friend, or maybe it's for a loved one, but you'll be able to notice, you'll be able to pick up on these characteristics, and you'll be able to you'll be able to identify a narcissist. And then once you, and I'm not trying to alienate people, but once you are able to identify people, then, and you understand the characteristics of these individuals, then you can understand what you need to do for yourself, and what you need to do to protect yourself or others that are around you. And that's the thing, right? We're trying to get through life. We're trying to get through as peacefully and as lovingly as we can. And we're trying to help others. And so I feel like, from my perspective, if people can avoid the things that I've done, the mistakes that I've made, or the pain that I've caused myself, or that I have had, then I would love to share that information. So I hope this helps with that. I think it will. Just remember that the narcissists in your life may be able to survive there undetected, because maybe you don't understand what's going on, or you don't know what's going on, or those around you don't know what's going on. And that's kind of the boat that I was in. I wasn't aware of anything. And if you are in that situation, if someone can help you, that is a great benefit to have. If you have someone who can help you to see in clarity. And for those people that say, well, it's easy, why can't you see this? Why doesn't this person see this? Why don't they see this person for who they are? Sometimes it's hard when you're in the situation, and you're wearing the rose-colored glasses that, for instance, that narcissists have placed upon you. Then it's really hard to see anything else and to understand anything else. And they're really, really good at that. And we'll talk about that in the next week's episode. We'll talk about how narcissists operate, how they're able to maneuver the things that they're able to maneuver, and how they're able to exist in places and situations and environments where they go undiscovered for a while. And that's another way that you know that you are definitely a victim of narcissist abuse, is that it's going on around you, and it's happening to you, and you have no idea. You just can't see it. You've bought in to whatever they have been saying. You've bought into the world that they create. You've bought into all of that. Not intentionally, and I'm definitely not blaming anyone, but because I did too. But in doing that, it makes them able to exist more freely. And so I just invite you to look at the characteristics and see if that is in your life. If it's not, great. If it is, let's do something about it. So I want to thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in today. And I just want to remind you that no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're struggling with, that you do not have to struggle alone.